Oh, absolutely. Obviously, feelings and people are still very upset about what happened last October to Tatiana Jefferson, and what has happened in this case in Minnesota is just made people very angry. We saw them gather here around 6 o'clock at the old courthouse, and then they marched probably 3-4 times around downtown. Probably walked about 7 miles, and in contrast to what Rebecca has described, this was a very peaceful protest. People, you know, there was definitely some taunting of police officers, a lot of anger directed towards the officers. The officers really maintained their professionalness, and they were, this was mostly officers on bikes that trailed this. They made sure the crowd could get through, blocking off traffic. At various points we saw the protesters take over streets and kneel down. At one point there was a guy that had sat down in the street, and other protesters had to convince him to get out of the street. But so it was definitely a tense scene here at times, but definitely peaceful, and the protesters are promising that they'll be back tomorrow night. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Tanya. You know, it's clear this has been a very emotional night. Protesters didn't just march through Fort Worth. Some of them dropped to their knees and cried. Here's Jobin Paniker.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
It started at the old courthouse, 150 people strong, marched through downtown streets of Fort Worth, repeating 3 words.
I can't breathe!
Some of the last words George Floyd of Minneapolis said before he died. They say this is about police brutality, but what they are protesting hits home too.
We can't breathe!
There is still anger over the deaths of Tatiana Jefferson. She's from Fort Worth. There is still anger over the death of Botham Jean from Dallas.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
At moments they paused to kneel right in front of Sundance Square, those same 3 words. And then an image that needs no words. They are hurting. Also, a show of solidarity, those not here for protest, but sitting for dinner, stood and applauded. They would march for miles through downtown, police shutting down streets where they could. Some marchers did it for them. On a Friday evening in Fort Worth, there was anger and frustration and peace, heard in just 3 words.
I can't breathe!
In Fort Worth, I'm Jobin Paniker.